What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, and today I'm back to talk about Warhammer 40k. Now recently there has been a ton of 40k reveals. You've got the awesome new Kill Team box set, you've got a slew of orcs that are just amazing, brand new sculpts, beast snaggers all over the place. And then today we have another reveal for the Grey Knights. Now I think I'm going to work backwards, talking about the Grey Knight first, and then in the following days in the week, I'll talk about the Orcs and the Death Corps of Krieg. So, as we take a look at this new model for the Grey Knights, we have Castellan Garran Crowe coming out with a brand new sculpt. This is a big upgrade. This guy, just to give you a quick synopsis as to who he is, he's incorruptible, and he's the wielder of the Black Blade known as Antweir. So this blade, I'll get into like the lore of it later in the video, but it just looks so badass. Like if you look at the older sculpt and you look at the new sculpt, amazing. Not just detailed, but like the pose is I really enjoy the pose, and it just looks amazing. The one thing that I do want to talk about is, to me, I don't know if it's the same to you guys, but this guy looks more Primaris. He looks more true to scale. So does this mean that the Grey Knights are going to be going to become Primaris? That is going to be some interesting stuff that we hopefully get some new news on, because their codex is dropping pretty soon alongside that of the Thousand Suns. So it'd be very interesting to see if we get a whole new lineup of Grey Knights, similar to what they've done with like the Orc Boy with its new sculpt and whatnot. But maybe it's just this guy. I mean, because it is going to be really weird seeing Crowe at like his awesome new sculpt, Primaris sized, and then the rest of the army is still like the Firstborn Marines. I don't know, in my opinion, I feel like the two contrasts just clash too much, which is why whenever we see people playing Space Marines, they're either going with the classic Marine look, the Firstborn Marine look for that matter, or for the full Primaris army. You generally don't see much of a mix. However, maybe the Grey Knights will change that, who knows. But from what I can see here, I'm really liking the direction that they're going with the Grey Knights, still giving them all the things that make them look knightly, with like the purity seals, the relic books and whatnot, and the Stormbolter looks amazing. I really like, I don't know if you could see it, but you could kind of see the ammo feed going from like his back to his Stormbolter. That's pretty cool, because if you look at the older model, it's just an ammo box on the side. But anyway, I really think this is a great model, and hopefully the rest of the Grey Knights can follow suit. But they didn't really go over any stats or any rules, anything like that. They're basically just saying, here's a new model for the Grey Knights. So we'll just have to sit back and wait to see what else the Warhammer community will give us in the following days. But with that being said, guys, I'm going to leave it at that, and the rest of this video will go over more lore for Castellan Crowe and his blade. So with that being said, guys, hit that subscribe button, because again, I'll be talking about the new releases for the Orcs, that new Kill Team throughout the week, as well as anything that comes out for the Grey Knights or Thousand Suns. So I'll see you guys in the next one, and this has been the Sound Alchemist, part of One Mind Syndicate, signing out. Peace.
So as we all know, the Grey Knights are the elite fighting force that specialize in killing demons, banishing back the demonic forces to the Immaterium. And today we're talking about Castellan Garran Crowe, or more specifically, the weapon that he wields. So, this weapon is super powerful and super mysterious. First and foremost, it is called the Blade of Antweir. And the thing about this is that it is a demon sword that cannot be destroyed. A Grey Knight is wielding a demon sword. So that's already a little like, whoa, you know, they're here to defeat demons, not use them. However, this demon blade cannot be destroyed by those who destroy demons. So what the heck is going on here? What is making this blade so powerful? Why can't the Grey Knights banish this demon sword? Which is exactly what they're here to do. Grey Knights are here to banish demons. What's going on? If you saw our 40 facts video on the blade of Abaddon Dracnian, I go in depth into the lore behind it, and that blade, spoiler alert, couldn't be destroyed. It was super powerful, it transcended that of the Chaos Gods, and even the Emperor could not destroy it. It had to be banished. So, that leaves me to believe that the blade of Antweir may be related to Dracnian in some way. But, that's enough speculation and theory. Let's dive into this 40 fact video. So first and foremost, let's talk about Garran Crowe. Crowe is considered to be a flawless soul, a man of immense spiritual fortitude, so much so that he is immune to the temptations of chaos. And because of that, he's been bestowed with a huge burden, and that is to wield the Black Blade of Antweir. This demon sword is so powerful beyond imagining. Like I said before, it first came to the attention of the Grey Knights during the 37th millennium, and it was during the days of the Occlusiad. So the Occlusiad was basically a war that was going on between the Imperial Navy, the Dark Hunter Space Marine chapter, the Adeptus Mechanicus, and a heretic cult known simply as the Apostles of the Blind King. And it's basically cultists that praised the machine god, however, they were kind of teetering on chaos. Eventually, these heretics of the Blind King began going full-blown chaos. They began summoning demonic engines in vast numbers, and they even had the ability to use chaos-corrupted warlord titans. This was so instrumental to this battle that it escalated into a massive war. Anyway, during this conflict, the heretics of the Blind King erected a temple of Antweir. This is when they began praising their god, and eventually this god gave them power in the form of the Black Blade. This Black Blade then began empowering the demon host who wielded it, and he became so powerful that all 8 brotherhoods of the Grey Knights had to come in and fight in this war. Eventually the Grey Knights won, the demon host was slain. However, when the blade fell from the demon host's hand, basically everything, the blood, the corpses there, all slipped out of time and space and vanished. Even though the blade also vanished, the prognosticars, which are kind of like fortune tellers for the Grey Knights, they had visions that the blade would return, and it finally did, although it was 3,000 years later. The sword finally resurfaced on the moon of Tethys, but for the Grey Knights, they knew it was coming, so they were ready. They killed the vessel before Antweir could be fully able to possess him, and thus grant him even more power than that of the Blind King. So now that they killed the vessel and they had the sword in their possession, the Grand Masters debated the fate of this sword. Some wanted to destroy it, others simply wanted to abandon it and let fate basically take hold of it, and others said that it should be placed in the hands of the Purifiers, because only the Purifiers of the Grey Knight had the strength to resist its corruption. Eventually the latter was chosen, and for centuries it was placed into the hands of the Brotherhood champion, and it was passed down from Purifier to Purifier until it became Garran Crowe's. Throughout the years of all these Purifiers being the blade holder to this blade, they've known that perhaps it's not a simple demon inside the sword. They think that maybe it could be a demon prince, a greater demon, or maybe something even more fouler than that, an ancient god. Anyway, it is said that whoever is standing too close to this sword are driven mad by the constant whispers and lies that the sword tends to speak out. Unfortunately for the Grey Knights, they are not perfect. They're really close to it, but they do sometimes fall to temptation. And that is only because of this blade. So, because of that, they tend to sometimes pass it off to the next Purifier to give them some time to build their psychic fortitude, their holiness again, before they can wield the Black Blade. Until Garran Crowe came here. So Crowe was so powerful, like I said before, he was able to resist all temptations. He could still hear the whispers. He was still fighting to have control of the blade and not let the greater demon or whatever's inside it possess him. So because of that, he was known as the one true wielder of this blade. He became the sole guardian of the sword, and because of this, he's also been tasked with the forbidden knowledge that the sword gives him. Now, the sword may be telling him secret truths, or maybe he's just giving him lies. All this is something that Garran Crowe has to go through on a daily basis. Do I trust the sword in telling me that my enemy's weakness is here? Or maybe that's just going to get him killed. So it's always a struggle, it's always a battle for Crowe to understand what the blade's true intentions are. And most of the time, he's been right on the money. That's why he's still alive. Throughout the years of being in possession of this blade, Crowe has been the one to basically listen to everything he's saying. So because of this, he's been writing down all the whispers that the blade has been telling him, and he's been keeping them locked in corridors. Most of these are probably just lies, however there are some truths behind this, and actually some of these have been curses. For example, I believe there was a curse that when somebody spoke it out loud, it literally summoned a demon. So, this blade is powerful. It knows things that no mortals should be able to know. And on top of this, if Crowe doesn't have the sword in his possession, it will dematerialize back into the warp. So because of this, he always has it on his person. He always has a hand in the hilt. And it's just a huge bother. But he's the man who's been tasked with this job. On top of this isn't just a bother to him. He can also use the blade to attack, to kill the heretic, slay the demon. So, again, it's not just a hindrance to him, he can use it for fighting, basically. Unfortunately, he doesn't use the blade's demonic powers to wield him. He uses it as just a regular sword, albeit a demon sword that is indestructible. So it's still a good sword, but again, it's always a constant battle. And with that being said, that was the Blade of Antwer's lore.